last week sent you a letter. I said, yeah, and I responded to that letter, and I had proof of it. And I said, you haven't responded to my letter. You've just turned up and got into my house. But I didn't even realize that they'd gone in through the back, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, and I was told, because I rang a friend who she was like, just stand in front of the meters and stuff, and I was just like, I can't do all that. I can't. It's not, well, I can't, but it's not me to confront them, and you know, it's just like, I can't do that.
You know what you need to do?
Yeah.
What you need to do is wrap them in tin foil.
All right.
The smart meters.
Okay.
Because the signal won't get through. But, well, it's like a Faraday cage. No radio frequencies will be able to be emitted or received if you.
Will it affect the Wi-Fi?
No, it won't break your Wi-Fi, because the smart meters don't connect to your Wi-Fi. Well, they usually don't connect to your Wi-Fi. They normally connect to the local cell tower for mobile phones.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. I'll go.
So it's worth thinking about, because if I get to that stage myself where they're going to force me to have a smart meter, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to get some wallpaper paste, and I'm going to, because I have my gas and electric meters are in a cupboard just by the front door inside the house. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wallpaper paste tin foil, nice thick tin foil from the local supermarket, and literally line the entire cupboard with tin foil, and then just shut the doors. And then when they say, "Oh, your smart meters not,"
oh, that's a good idea. Thanks for that. No, I'm going to do that. Thank you.
And I'm going to do the same if they ever do the water meter outside, because all the water meters near me, they're like a little sort of flap in front of each of the houses that feeds each house. So the only place they can put water meters is in these little holes. So I'm going to do the same with them when they put the smart meters in for the water. I'm just going to lift a little flap up and just stuff it full of tin foil.
Yeah, well, we've got to do. Well, I'm going to write to them first to ask them to remove them. But the thing is, the guy, in the end, the guy did feel a bit, guilty, because he was like, he was going to do pay as you go, and he goes, I'll put you on credit instead.
Right.
And he was going to come in and talk about the billing. Then he saw I was upset, and he just left it.
Get it resolved, right? We get some success out of it somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's for me personally that I'm just about giving love even to them. It's just loving them and showing them love. And for me, I just spoke with him like respect and love. And I think it did have an effect on him, because he did change his mind on a couple of things. Right. And I don't believe in confrontation and trying to. It's not me. I think it's about loving them as well. They're just programmed and doing their job. And
well, yeah, that's one way of looking at it from their perspective. Absolutely, they've got a job to do, but at the end of the day, it's their choice to do that job. So that's a good way of doing it. Angie's with us now. Hi, Angie.
Hello. How are you all doing?
Good.
More or less all's well.
More or less.
Yeah. Rena's got a couple of issues that she's going to hopefully resolve with peace and love, which we fully support.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's very
cool. Maybe Angie can provide some wisdom with the magic tonight.
Yeah.
For you. You never know.
If it's around institutions, it's there's usually some way you can trip them up, and then.
Well, I was telling Andy that they broke into the house through the back and they put in smart meters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
I've heard of it. I've never known anyone it being done to until now.
Yeah.
But I have heard they are starting to do that.
Wow.
And the police came. They called the police because they thought I was going to stand in the way and block them. So they called the police, and the police were like completely on their side. So it was no point.
Wow.
Even, yeah.
That's insane.
Did they come on behalf of the landlord, or
No,
was
the
there
landlord
not
had nothing to
involved?
do with it. No,
Right,
the
right.
landlord had nothing to do with it.
Really? Flipping heck.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's breaking
crazy.
and entering.
Yeah, they broke in through the back, but I didn't realize until after the cops had gone that they'd actually broken through the back.
Wow.
Because I was at the front all the time. But
Mm.
yeah, they'd broke in, they'd got in through the back.
That's
It
outrageous.
doesn't make sense anyway.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But what I mean, one of the things that I've found is once you've set your intention with them, you don't give them any more of your focus, your attention, your energy. Because they can't they can't do the things they do, and if you don't give them attention,
react. Yeah. I know, and that's the thing, and I'm really surprised that actually, even though it's done, I haven't felt any. I'm quite surprised how relaxed and calm I feel about it. The only thing was them coming in.
Yeah.
You know, picking the lock and coming in. That's the only thing that affected me. The meters and stuff doesn't bother me. It looks like it, you know. Yeah. I see it as a game, you know, in a game as a sort of, yeah, it's not affected me much in that way at all.
Mm. Wow.
Anyway, Angie, what are you discussing tonight?
Well, I didn't have a theme. Nothing came out of the ether, so I'm gonna ramble on tonight. So it could go anywhere. I'll let the river take me where it wants me to go.
That's the best way to be.
Absolutely. So
right, well, it's a couple of minutes past 6. There's no one on afterwards, Angie, so feel free to be as extended as you wish.
Okay.
There's no time constraints or anything like that. So yeah, the evening is yours.
Okay.
So yeah, I will mute myself.
I'll start the recording.
And we'll see you on the other side.
Indeed. Oh, hang on. What's it doing? Come on, start recording. Thank you. Start recording. So everything is magic. What should I call it? Rambling on. I'm going to call it Rambling On, from that lovely tune by Led Zeppelin. Ramble on. It's one of my favorite things to do, whether that's actually walking or just waffling, really. Excuse me. So yeah, I didn't have a theme, and we've been doing quite a lot actually this past week. So we've been kind of getting things in place for Ian to make him more comfortable indoors. So he's got this amazing new I'm jealous, I want one. It's a wing-backed like high back chair, which is very Aleister Crowley, I have to say. What else have we been doing? Well, when we get a new bit of furniture, because we have to move things around, it's like one of those weird puzzle things you used to get in stockings in the 70s. You have to move one thing to move something else, and you move something else, and you move something else. So it's been a lot of that this week. We've also been out in the garden today. It's freezing cold, but we got these really cool. They must be a good 50-60 centimeters in diameter, these massive wreaths. Yeah. And Ian said we could put them in the garden and put fairy lights on them, solar lights. I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. They're out there now and they look amazing. Along with we don't call him Santa, we call him the bearded one. Ian wrote a story about them many years ago now, children's story. So we've got him out there on the fairy path, and then we've got some in the front garden as well. I'm going to add fairy lights out there as well. So today's been it's a hard work actually, cutting back, because we had to cut back the garden a bit because I haven't been out there since my neighbour went crazy with a hammer and at me. fucking mental case. Anyway, so I hadn't been out in the garden since August, actually. Yeah, so there's a lot of cutting back to do to even get in the garden to do anything. So yeah, it was one of those days where it's been, you know, a lot of physical work, but when you get to the end of the day, you're like, actually, no, it's been really good. I'm happy to report as well that Ian's doing amazing with his walking. So we do a daily walk around this little enchanted woods with the dog. And then that's enough for the dog. He's like, no, I've had enough now. I'm going home. So then we bring him home. And then we do a little bit of the marsh walk, which is about a mile each way. I don't know. It's probably about a mile, just over a mile there and back. So that's actually quite nice to be able to do that. And today, oh my God, today on the marshes, so it was around about 4 o'clock, I think. So it was the sun was beginning to go down. And we've seen many things on our marsh walks. Many different types of wildlife, weather conditions. I mean, we've walked in like crazy ice and snow. Fog where you can't actually see your hand in front of your face, all sorts of things. Spring tide when it's marshes is completely flooded, all kinds of weather conditions. But today we saw something I have not seen before. It's the evening mist that was coming in as we were walking back. That was just something else. Really, really beautiful. And Ian said it actually. He said the you know, nature's, or words to this effect, nature's kind of gifts, if you like, never ever fail to wow. You know, she's out there doing her thing, and you know, when you stop, you slow down, because that's a key. You slow down and you know, you observe what's around you in nature. It never fails to wow you if you allow it to. As Ian said, he said, and you're like a child. You're like, oh, it's a leaf. I'm like, yeah. I think that's really the only way to be. You know, be wowed by, you know, tiny little things. It's like one day this was about the middle of the year, I think. And we were doing, because Ian was having a problem walking even as far back as May, actually. And so we were doing up to the little walk that we've been doing the past few days. And these little, I didn't know what they were until I looked them up. They were baby moles. Came out of the side of the path and ran right up towards us. And they kind of walked over my feet and then went back again. It's like, that was interesting. Never seen baby moles before now. So there's always, you know, what can you take from that? Well, you can always look up. If you see like an animal crosses your path, literally crosses your path, look them up as like a spirit guide or an animal totem, because there will always be a message there. It's like today, because we were out quite early this morning doing the garden and getting all sorted out before breakfast. Yeah, you wake up starving, hungry. It's like, I really want to eat, but you know, we said we'd do the garden, so we're doing the garden. And as soon as we finished, it was really amazing, actually. As soon as we'd finished, like doing all the cutting back, putting up the wreaths, moving, because we've got hurdle fences, hazel hurdle fences that you can move about. We haven't fixed them, so we can move them around if we need to. And we were moving all those around so that the two wreaths look balanced with the fencing, and it was really nice. As soon as we sat down, we finished, Ian said to me, he said, Ange, look over there. It was a robin. Now, you couldn't get any more Yuletidey festive than a robin in your garden. And it was so lovely because where I'd cut or recut or re-established the path that goes to the back of the garden, which was all bramble, so we had to cut back all this bramble where it just gone crazy. And it's still growing. Can you believe it? That's the power of the sun for you. Yeah, where I'd cut back all this bramble and it was all flat, the robin was hopping around where I'd cut the bramble. So there were obviously disturbed things in there that he could, you know, pick up some bits of food, which was, it was just amazing. And he stayed in our garden for a good 5-10 minutes. And it was just, that's the magic. That's the magic. Yeah. And it's not necessarily something you can set an intention for. Well, when I finish doing my garden, I want a robin to come in my garden and hop around for a bit. These things just happen. And that's part of, I suppose, what the theme is for this evening's show. It's like, it's the synchromistic journey for a start. So one thing leads to another thing, which opens the door to another thing, and then something else. So this all, so the robin landing in our garden, if we go back along, yeah. So this goes all the way back to buying a wooden tray. Yeah. So a few years ago, I bought in, because he likes a nice tray to eat his dinner off of, because we don't have a dining table. We don't have space for it. So I bought him this really nice wooden tray. Now, I bought this tray not that long ago, and it was very expensive, but it was falling apart almost right from the start, you know, and you'd re-bang the nails in, and it just wasn't working, really. So last week, was it last week? I think it was last week. I said, I'm going to go into town. I'm going to buy you a new tray. You know, I'm going to do that. So we went to town like you do, TK Maxx, you know, really nice place to get really interesting things. So we got the tray. We also picked up these 2 wreaths. So we went in for a tray and came out with a load of stuff, including the 2 massive, great big wreaths. The bearded one, which he stands about 4 foot high. He's amazing. And the other little bearded ones, fairy lights, and yeah, all the stuff to do the garden. So if I hadn't have bought that wooden tray that was falling apart, I wouldn't have bought in a new tray, and then we wouldn't have had the robin hopping around in the garden today. So that's what I mean by the synchromistic journey and how that weaves, yeah, because I couldn't have intended for that. I couldn't have set an intention for that. But it's an unfolding, yeah. It's like another example of that is a couple of weeks ago, I very randomly get was it a phone call? I think it was a phone call from someone who's they went for a charity, and their regular yoga teacher was going away for 4 weeks, and they wanted someone to do, you know, to fill in that weekly spot for 4 weeks, but with something a little bit different. Well, you've chosen the right person then. I can certainly give you something a little bit different. So what's really interesting is that's already weaving and opening other doors. I'm already getting people ask me, the people who didn't even come to that first session, which was on Tuesday. I'm already getting people message me saying, "Oh, I hear you do blah blah. Do you do 1-to-1?" You know, so it's all, something is already unfolding there. I have no idea where it's going, and is it my business to know where it's going? Probably not, because it's just going to unfold, and I will take those paths as they come along. Yeah. So yeah, the theme for today, because I didn't have a theme, is kind of, you know, it's not even about being in the flow. Yeah. It's about being the flow. So you are the river. You're not in a boat on the river. You are the river. Yeah. So I don't know if that makes sense. But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because we are beings that, in our natural state, for want of a better word, we are not physical. We are, you know, I kind of see it as neutrinos, which is, you know, it's like dancing fairy lights, if you like. You can call it like that. I quite like that. So we're not static. So we're very much like water. Yeah. So water in its natural state usually moves unless it's stagnant. Yeah. And we know what happens when water goes stagnant. So you could even see, you know, being in a physical body and not being aware of who you truly are, there's a stagnant energy there. I don't know if that makes sense. If you're not creative, so that energy is flowing through you and out through your particular brand of creativity. Yeah, and we feel that. At some point in your life, you know, if you, because we call that blocks, don't we? Creative blocks. So what is that? That's stagnant energy, isn't it? It's not, nothing's moving, so it feels blocked, it feels stagnant. So when you look at it from that perspective, from a point of elementals, you know, we are more water, or more like water, than we are stone, for example. Our true nature. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. So what else have we been up to this week? Well, Ian's been venturing out, so that's good. We're actually having, because we were doing healing days for 21, 22, 23, nearly 3 years. We were doing monthly, like regular. I think we only missed a couple during those 3 years. We were doing regular healing days once a month, and because we haven't excuse me, because we haven't been able to do them, you know, we haven't seen a lot of our, you know, our little, it's very small kind of community, if you like, of, you know, like-minded people who we connected with via Stand in the Park. So we haven't really seen much of them. Excuse me. So, you know, people pop in, but we haven't had that, you know, that regular kind of gathering, if you like, since July, June or July, I can't remember now. So because it's, you know, because it's Yule, early Yule, I don't know, I just got this, how about a Yuletide brunch? So I've put that out there into the ether, and we'll see what happens. Because I do enjoy this time with the baking. I love that. There's something very, I don't know, magical. Magical is probably not the right word. There's something extremely festive about, you know, the baking, and I don't know. It's that there's something going on inside here. What is that? And it's, well, it's coming out of the underworld, isn't it? And that you know, being reborn. out of the underworld into the light, if you like. So I do like all the festive stuff, but then that carries through, you know, the rest of the Wheel of the Year as well. So what are some of the things that we do for Yule? So we do the usual. I was talking last week on the Yule thing, a lot of medieval food. But I do like making cinnamon buns. They're a bit good. And obviously the obligatory, well, ours are mini mince pies. Which reminds me, I haven't got my mincemeat. I need to do that. Shortbread as well. I did buy some. Sainsbury's, their Plant Pioneer stuff, their vegan stuff, they actually do these shortbread biscuits, which are not too bad actually. They're not bad. But I do like to make shortbread as well. It's really good. So kind of getting into the energy of Yule a little bit, because we had all that the challenge. I'm going to call it the challenge, which is still it's ongoing. It's an ongoing challenge, but it's like dipping your toe, you know, over there in that institution, as little as you need to, really. That's what I would say. And we've got some things planned as well. So there is I think it runs over 3 weekends. The Rochester Christmas market, and then you got the Dickensian Festival, which we went there. Oh blimey. Oh blimey. That must have been about 2016, 2017, something like that. It's quite a long time ago. I've just got to turn this. This light is right in my face, and it's beginning to hurt my eyes. So I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. That's better. God blimey, I'm blinded. So yeah, this is one of the most, apparently, according to Kent or Medway Council, I don't know. It's one of the oldest and most popular Christmas markets in the UK. I don't know how true that is. They're always going to say that about their own stuff, aren't they? But what I will say is the parade, the Dickensian Festival parade, is quite amazing. The costumes are brilliant. Yeah, I like a nice costume. I was an actor for a little while, so I like a nice costume. And they do a torchlit one in the evening as well, which is quite spectacular. Or candlelit, sorry, not torchlit. So yeah, we have plans to go to that. So it's getting in the festive spirit, definitely. We have also made our Yuletide cards as well. I haven't sent any off yet. I haven't got around to that. But again, you know, that will happen when the time is, you know, when it slots in there. When the river takes them and they go off winging their way with a stamp on it. So yeah, I mean, I suppose being the river, I mean, I suppose most visceral experience of that was definitely when we were going through Ian's health thing. I've never experienced anything quite like that in my life. like very clear messages, very clear guidance, and for me not to question it, because normally I'd be like, I just need to know a little bit more about that before I do that. But in this case, there was none of that. It was very much boom, boom, boom. And it might not have made sense at the time, but two more steps forward and it would make sense. So yeah, that was a huge lesson, experience. It's something that I have not found difficult to integrate so that it becomes normal. Yeah, I think that's the thing. When you are allowing yourself to be guided by the part of you that is bigger and sees everything, yeah, then you are truly allowing that guidance to happen, because it's really funny. It's like I'd get glimpses of that, and the rest of the time I would think I was doing it, and I sort of was, but then you actually do it and you're like, whoa, that's a completely different experience. That's the only way I can kind of describe that. Is it's such a different experience when you are fully being the river, when you're not being the being in the boat on the river. It's like, so we were talking about this earlier. So as a being, as a human on this planet, yeah, you're in a allegedly physical body, yeah. That's our perception. It has boundaries, yeah. And then so the being inside that, which people call a soul or a spirit or whatever, is inside that, although it's not. Because when you think about it, you have many layers of a field around you, your aura, whatever you want to call that, your energetic body, yeah, is not inside of you, it's outside of you. So is your soul in your body, or is your body inside your soul? There you go. That's a question for you. We'll ponder that one afterwards. So, where was I going with that? Okay, completely lost my train of thought there. Go off on a tangent and look what happens. Many layers. No, it's gone. That was it. So we were talking about like, so if your soul is observing the body doing stuff, yeah, and your higher self is the observer of this is kind of across many spiritual teachings, so it's not new by any stretch of the imagination, but I can take it a step further. So people talk about the observer observing the observer, which is observing this physical being, yeah, this physical body, yeah. But if we are everything, then we are also the multiverse. Okay, so the multiverse being that we are, yeah, because we are a fractal of that humongous thing, yeah, which is everything, the void, whatever you want to call it, yeah. So we are we are the observer, a massive thing, yeah, observing the higher self, the part of you that is bigger and sees everything, observing the soul, observing this physical being. And yeah, we were having this conversation on the marshes today, and it's like it's I find it quite exciting that our consciousness is expanding to such a point that concepts like that, I don't know, it's not even like you have to sit there and think about it. It just comes in as well, this is what it is. Okay. It's like when spirits shout in my ear hole. Yeah. I remember one time we were watching something about the pyramids, and they shouted in my ear because the standard theory about how old the pyramids are, yeah, I don't know, 6,000 years or whatever it is that they say. And right in my ear hole, they were shouting, they were there before. I'm not going to shout, obviously, but it's very loud in my ear. And it just kept saying, they were there before. They were there before. They were there before. And I'm like, Ian, the pyramids were there before. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, I've just been told that. They were there before. So I didn't get any more information on that, obviously. But when you get those very, very clear, no mistaking it whatsoever, messages, you know, that you know that you're connected to something that is not just this physical body, yeah, but there's more. There is infinite possibilities that you are and that you connect to, because it is you, so you can't not be connected to it. Does that make sense? That makes sense. Which is, you know, when we're looking at, you know, the experience that we've had recently with, you know, health thing and institution. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You know, both of us were knocked over by that. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I questioned a lot of things. I shouted at the universe about a lot of things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, a lot of the things that we experience when it comes to health, like for instance, teeth, yeah. So when I was a child, every time I would go to the dentist would do a filling, and it would be without anesthetic. So it was horrible. It was basically torture, yeah, that my parents consented to. But so now I have a mouth full of fillings, yeah. It's just, and when they run out, they do them on the side. It's like, it's great. They were insane, unhinged, yeah, these people. I've since, you know, kind of when you look into it, you know, they got paid per filling or whatever, you know, but I know a lot of people, our generation, had the same experience, and what they're experiencing now is their teeth are basically falling apart, and what you're left with is a bit of filling, yeah. So when it comes to teeth, there's a lot of shame around, you know, if your teeth are broken or you've got one missing. There seems to be an awful lot of, because everyone has to have perfect teeth all the time, yeah. It's very, very strange. But the weird thing is, and when you look back at any kind of when they dig up like an old body from, I don't know, whatever time in history, yeah, you usually see their teeth are really good, yeah. And when they're still intact in the skull, it's a very strange phenomenon. So I find it really interesting that I know a fair amount of people that are having issues with their teeth because their teeth have been filled with this crap. Yeah. It's not of our doing. So all the kind of weird guilt is a big one. Yeah. Especially if you're scared of the dentist or you don't go to the dentist. I don't go to the dentist because the last time I went to the dentist, I came away and my mouth was just bleeding. It was horrible. These people, I don't know, they're not normal. In my opinion, they're not normal. They seem to like sticking their hands in your mouth and, but this, what is happening for a lot of people with their teeth, it's not what they're doing. This is an institution that has messed around in our mouths, done stuff that nobody actually understood the implications of that, I don't think. When our parents were going, yeah, do whatever you need to do, even though your child's screaming in the room, that's fine. Crazy, a little bit. But it's not of our doing. Does that make sense? So we cannot take that on board. Yeah. Does that make sense? It's not, because as children, that wasn't even under our purview to consent to that. That was, the Ignavi, maybe. So that's ignorance without realizing what is being done. There's a difference. So you can be Ignavi, which is not knowing any different, or you can be ignorant, which knowing different and doing it anyway. So we can't take that on board. We can't carry that because it's not ours to carry. Like a lot of this stuff that is falling away, being washed out of us, if you like, at the moment, is not ours to carry. It's so we need to let it go. Yeah. And what's really interesting is when you do that. So I'm experiencing this at the moment. I've got this really odd thing going on with the side of my face at the moment, which is not always there. Pain is a weird thing. It moves around and it's not always there. You can only have one. Have you ever realised this? Yeah, you can only ever have one pain in the body at one time. You can't have a pain in your elbow and a pain in your tooth at the same time. It's very strange. Why is that? Because you have to give it your attention. Yeah, you have to give it your full attention at that time when it's going, look at me, give me your attention. Yeah, you can only put it there. Yeah, you can't, contrary to popular belief, we're not I don't think we're designed to multitask, because you can't fully put your attention somewhere and fully put it somewhere else at the same time. That to me is an oxymoron. You can't do that. If you're fully paying attention over here, then you can't fully pay attention over there, can you? It doesn't make sense. Otherwise you're not fully paying attention. So in order for these thought forms, or the way I see it, it's like something coming into your energetic field, which is trying to get in, and as it comes in, it's a bit like poking a balloon. Yeah, when you poke through a balloon, it's not your finger that, I don't know if that makes sense. A better way to describe it. Oh, I can't think of another way to describe it. Princess and the Pea. There we go. So when that, whatever it is trying to get in, yeah, it's like it's creating a bubble around the front of it, which can, not always, can then manifest in the physical body like a pain. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't have anything I can do like a little demonstration with. But that's kind of how I see that. So, you know, when I'm experiencing this, you know, it's like if I give it my full attention, then it gets bigger. It gets more painful. Yeah. But if I choose to put my attention somewhere else, pain disappears. Yeah. So I've just got a little note here, random notes delivered on my desk. I don't know if any of you have noticed. I'm going to change track now completely. Excuse me. So this, so as we're, you know, going through this process of expansion of consciousness, ascension, whatever you want to call it, this is a new age. So we're already seeing one of the first things of that, and that's Pluto in Aquarius, yeah. And we're already seeing bits and pieces to do with that. It's quite amazing. So it's literally a new age, yeah. So the new age is a concept, yeah. It's a period of time. It's an ideology, yeah. It's not a thing. It's not a physical thing with, you know, a CEO at the top. Yeah. I don't know if any of you have noticed that for a little while now, maybe just before the con set in 2020, the new age was being attacked. Yeah. It's really bizarre. Yeah. So we know there are charlatans in all walks of life, yeah. People that charge a fortune for nothing. And that's nothing to do with a spiritual teaching. That's just greed and fear. But what's really interesting is it's an increasing thing of people. They use the word woo-woo a lot. Sounds a bit like wee-wee to me. So a lot of the things that are classed as new age, yeah, are actually old technology or old practices like yoga, breath work, sound. You know, sound, vibration, frequency have been around since the dawn of time. So how that can be, you know, demonized because it's been put in this bracket of new age, like blows my brain up. So what's really interesting, what I find really interesting is, are the people that are attacking the new age as being woo-woo, are they actually attacking their own expansion of consciousness? There we go. That's another question. And because myself and Ian walk the middle path as much as possible, it's really interesting to observe these things. It's like, you know, what are these people doing? It's like they're attacking their own consciousness expansion by attacking the new age, because literally it's what we're walking through at the moment. It's not a building. It's not, you know, it's not a corporate company with a, you know, very well paid CEO at the top. It's very, very strange. High strangeness. Yeah. Getting stuck in Arachnia's web. Because that's, you know, a lot of these people who, yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Pardon me. You know, the thing, YouTube's great. I love YouTube. But I don't know. It's really weird how the platform has been distorted to it's all about subscribers, it's all about clicks, it's all about watch hours, it's all about, you know, how many adverts can you squeeze into a 10-minute 10-minute video. Oh my god. Yeah, I would love to get my subscribers or all my stats up so that I can then have no adverts on my channel. None. Because you can do that. You can do that. And if, you know, if I ever get to the point where I get enough of all those stats up, you know, that's what I'll do. No adverts, thank you very much. So if you're watching on YouTube and you don't want adverts on these videos, then subscribe and do all that other stuff, yeah. But it's like, when did it stop being about being creative, and when did it start being about numbers? Not that numbers aren't creative, but you know what I mean. You know, the stats. You know, look at your stats. Look at your what do they call it? YouTube Studio. It's like, you know, I look at it for a little while. I think it's a bit boring, actually, because, you know, wouldn't you rather be being creative than looking at stats? You know, I don't know. Cynical me. So yeah, my YouTube videos, my YouTube channels are nothing to do with anything trendy. I've never been trendy in my life, and I'm quite proud of that. You know, it's not like, because I've tried that. I've tried, you know, like churning out yeah, helpful videos, obviously, but you know, doing one a day, and it's like, you know, and I'm talking like quite long videos, not on my tarot channel. I was doing little shorts for a little while, and then everything went psh, and I am posting on there, actually, if you want to go and check it out. I did a reading the other day, actually, excuse me, about the trees. So there's a really nice idea. I'm going to stop in a minute, but there's a really nice idea. So it's not the wind that moves the trees. When the trees are in meditation, yeah, instead of being still, because trees are still all the time, yeah, they move. So when the tree moves, it creates the wind, yeah. So the other day when we had this, oh, there's going to be a big storm. It's like, well, we've walked in worse weather than that before, so we're just going to go for a walk and on the marshes, and the trees were, you know, whoa, you know, going for it. And the sound, I love that sound when trees move. And I realised, I remembered that about, it's not the wind that moves the trees, it's the trees moving that creates the wind. I'm like, okay, so the trees are telling us something. What are they telling us? So I said to Ian, I said, I need to do a reading on that. And I did it as a, excuse me, as a YouTube live on the Everything is Magic YouTube channel. I haven't looked at the stats for it, so I have no idea if it got 1 view or 100. I've no idea. I don't really care. Because I did it and I got it out there. So if anyone wants to go and look at it, you can go and do that. It's a very cool message, actually. So nature is always talking to us. Always. Yeah. She's always giving us messages. So I've kind of come back round. I've done a circle there. I've done a wheel of the year. So nature is always giving us messages. Always. And that robin in our garden today, after we finished putting the wreaths up and doing everything that we wanted to do, and we've sat down on our chairs that I painted in the summer on the cushions that Val gave us. Thank you, Val. And then the robin comes in and he's hopping around in the garden, and it was just magic. Because you know what? Everything is magic. And I'm going to end on that. So if anyone wants to say anything, feel free.
Well done, Angie. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to. You are the river. I totally flow with you on that one.
Yeah.
You are individually the river flowing through the universe of the land, or the land of the universe.
Ooh, I like that. That's cool.
There are going to be walls in place and boulders in place, and you've just got to flow over those boulders as they approach you. And that's exactly how with my flowing. Don't try and manipulate the universe, just play along with the universe, but make the decisions when they're presented to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I've always... And when I haven't done that, when I've gone against that ethos, that mentality, that spirituality, when I've gone and tried to play inside the system that is a false, fake system that's been created, then... I've not been a happy bunny. I've not been nice in myself. I've not been happy. I've not been content or anything.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get out of that, bingo. Yep, happy, content. So yeah, it's everyone's got to find that flow. Within themselves, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's my bit. I don't know if anybody else wants to. I'll mute myself now and see if anyone else wants to say anything.
Does anyone else have anything they want to add or ask? No? What I might do then is I might stop the recording and then we'll go from there. Hang on, just bear with me 1 second while I